soil, I'm the rapporteur of the soil monitoring and resilience, and that's important word that's often forgotten law. And for me, it's an important step in the journey that within the parliament started. It was 2020 autumn. When what I did, I was pushing because we don't have an EU framework for soil. And I started to push for the parliament to have, first of all, a new resolution on the soil issue, to actually recognize that we have a really big problem. We losing the life in the soil, and that means we're losing the carbon in the soil. It means we're losing the soil as such. And because we don't have an EU approach to protection of soil, and I believe strongly that based on all the scientific evidence out there, we need one. One of the crucial points in this resolution was the call for the legislative framework for the soil. This is the third time we're trying on a European level to actually have a soil protection. We have air, we have water, we don't have soil. Now, with a very big majority, the Parliament voted for this resolution, and we use it to push the Commission, also work with a group of member states. So there was a non-paper within the Council, so between the member states, also asking the Commission, as a result of my lobby effort, to come up with the legislative proposals, to come up with a law on soil. Now, again, this was in 21, so you can imagine things take time on a European level, because also a result of a long debate. So Commission started to prepare, made the consultations, and came up before the summer with the proposal for the soil monitoring and resilience law. Maybe not as ambitious as one would want, but it is a really important step in the right direction. And that's what made me really happy, that I managed, as someone who was driving the process from 2020 and pushing for it constantly, I managed to become the Parliament Rapporteur on this law. It's a combination. What I saw, having worked on pesticides and pollinators, is that the soil start to pop up in the whole thing. It's an issue that's known. I worked a lot on contaminated sites in the past. That's also very strongly linked to soil. So somehow the dots were very obviously connecting. And I have to say, 2019 was when I entered the European Parliament. So it was very clear that, okay, let's see if there is an opportunity for what is missing to be done. Because it was from the report from the European Environmental Agency, from all the science, from my previous work on the polluted side, contaminated sites, from the impact of pesticides. One of the interesting things, realizing that actually when we work on the pollinators, lots of them, solitary bees, are having their homes in the soil. And hence any soil contamination, soil loss, and soil degradation is directly impacting pollinators. So I'm looking at like we actually don't do a unified approach, and that's probably to that. You know what? I think it's similar in everything. We do regulate private domain in many areas, especially when the private domain impacts the public. And this is the case of soil. And I'm not going to go now into the whole debate on kind of public and private ownership, and especially now in terms of the trial, it's sensitive. But I think that what is important here to realize that as an approach, what we advocated from the start, and as an approach that we pushed for, and I think I'm very happy that we have it in the Parliament's position, is that we recognize the situation as something which is, or we want to take the soil law as bottom up. A lot of the European laws are top down. We have one size fits all, and in many cases, in most of the cases, this is the right approach in terms of the soil. And if you look at also, for example, in water, it's to some extent bottom up, because you look at the river basins, which is making sense, and each river basin is a bit different and faces different challenges. And here we are, I believe, much better than the Commission proposal, looking and trying to build it bottom up from really the different soil districts, looking at what are the different types of the soils in different areas, because they face different problems, but also they cannot be put on the same level, like, having the same properties, because the beauty of soil is, a part of the beauty of soil is the diversity. So we want to build up and showcase that there is a very big benefit in having a European framework, even in areas which require a bottom-up approach, because it's also about single market, having a playing field, and ensuring that everybody does their share in their own way that reflects what are the local needs. So it's not coming, so to say, from the EU level and telling everybody this is how you do that, but making sure that this area is not forgotten, that things happen, and find out what is the problem and do something about it. If you have a problem, if you don't, then you don't have to do anything. Lovely, congratulations. But also, can you tell us what you do well? This sharing and collaboration is also important. I hope that the end will look like that the many beneficiaries are all the people that deal with soil. So not only farmers, the usual political class of farmers, of course, farming. It's not only about farmers. Yes, they are crucial in this, and they have to be at the center and the core beneficiaries. But it's also anyone dealing with the forest, and ultimately it's everybody in Europe, because we need to have healthy soils if we want to have if we want to have food. Ultimately, we will not have food on our tables if we kill our soil. As simple as that. I think this is where, indeed, and I try to make sure that when we look at the soil law, that it's not going to be about so-called carbon farming. But if we want to even consider somehow measuring and rewarding the storage of the carbon in the soils, then we have to make sure that we have the right framework for the soils, and the soils are healthy. The kind of carbon farming framework doesn't look at the side of how we actually monitor the health of the soils and how we are supporting the farmers and the actors in making sure that they can keep and giving them the right tools to make sure that they can keep the soils healthy and ultimately benefit from some schemes. But it's not going to work if you look only at the carbon. You need to look at what I call the living soils. If the soil is not alive, then it's just a rock. Well, I think what it's urgently needed is to talk about it to different other stakeholders, how they can, and show them how they can benefit. Because yes, there are those which say, well, we actually don't need this. And I think that we do, and this is what I keep on hearing from the science, and basically showcasing what is going to be the benefit. And I found this the most important. Then working together with other stakeholders in implementation, because I think one of the things is if we have a standalone science that doesn't interact with the key players in the area, then you might be having more time to write the peer-reviewed papers, but they're not going to have the impact. And I don't mean the citations impact, I mean the actual real-life impact. And the real-life impact is what we need. a very important one. And to use the example of monitoring, we really try our best to make sure that we work with what's already there. It doesn't make sense to just pretend that we start from scratch when there are different systems of monitoring in different member states. And we try to set up some unifying platform while making sure that we use what we have out there, that we, so to say, reward those who do more and motivate them to do a better monitoring. Sadly, I'm at least in the European Parliament, I met often also the kind of the view as well that either that this is not needed or that it's why we want to throw it away, and we do the exact opposite. So I think this is how working with, for example, with the policymakers on the national level and people in administration and helping them to find the best ways to integrate this, how this can be built in very practical terms. Because even if you are sitting in a ministry, you are not the one collecting samples or analyzing them. So, trying to work with the different ministries in the member states on, okay, look, this is what we've been doing until now. This is the direction that the directive is showing us. This is how we can merge it together in the best way for protection of the soil and support for farmers on all the other states. That's a tricky one. There is no single answer. And, it's scary to realize that, for example, it took us 100 years as a civilization to act on asbestos. We're still talking PFAS. We know about the problem still 20, 30, 40 years. It's nothing new. Yeah? And we are in a situation of environmental crisis, which is from the climate through the pollution, through the collapse of biodiversity, where we don't really have much time. And so it's not an easy situation. If you look at the climate, it's really scary to see that what we're facing is actually, on the side of being worse than the worst predictions. And if we apply this to the perspective of soil, this doesn't look very, very optimistic. And at the same time, we kind of see lots of the trends in the civilization kind of starting to looking very inwards. And yes, this is a concern. I think it's about really, winning the hearts. On this, say, it's, people are often, when they're faced with basically daily decisions on survival, they're not going to be looking what's going to happen in 10 years. At the same time, if you undermine your future, then you have a huge problem. So I think it's about really also being able to communicate in a much more human, what I call, way. I have a science background. I studied molecular plant genetics. So I spent my university in the lab coat, and I know how boring things can be in terms of when I try to explain, to my friends what the hell I'm actually making my master's on. So I was making up things to make it look fun. And I think what we need to really try to do is, what I believe the science community should try to do is look for ways how to communicate to wider public proactively, in a bolder way, but also in a very kind of way that touches the heart. Because, purely scientifically, we're not rational, and that's okay. if everything goes well, and for me there is big hope that seeing the member states on the positive side, I'm very hopeful for the outcome. At the same time, yes, it feels kind of, it bears down on me having much more responsibility as a parliament, because it's not like, okay, we are the guys against the good guys against the bad member states. The member states are really into this, and hence we have to deliver as well. And the positive message for me is that I really hope that we will start soon seeing the soil being taken more seriously. When we will see the negotiations about the CAP, that, you know, making sure that the CAP is designed in a way that helps the farmers to protect the soil that ultimately feeds them and us all, that this is something that will be seen as, okay, let's see how we can build in the fact that the farmers should get a better information from the monitoring, better support for the practices that help to protect the soil. I'm a believer that in this we need, so to say, the carrot, not the stick, something that really kind of motivates everybody to be in it, and that's our best chance to see the good results.